Hello fellow AFOLs and welcome to Long's Bricks. Today we are taking a look at two new SpongeBob Snap and Switch sets. This is the Jellyfish Fields and Patrick's Rock. So these are two new sets that I found at Five Below. I had taken a look at four sets previously, and they were pretty fun. I thought the minifigures were pretty decent, and the sets themselves were not too bad. So I was excited to find two more. Finally get Patrick as a minifigure. We haven't had him before. And then I believe this SpongeBob is probably very identical to the one from the previous set, but he has a net and he will be catching some jellyfish. So packaging on these is pretty cool. You know, you have a nice picture of the set here on the front. Some SpongeBob artwork over here down in the corner. Over here on the side, you have Sandy and Squidward. Over here, you have Gary, and I guess just a little blurb about the set. Not too much going on the top or bottom. And then over here on the back, just pretty much the same picture from the front. So I'm excited to check these out. I'm going to go ahead and get them built, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the two sets fully constructed. We'll take a look at the minifigures first. So we have our little SpongeBob minifigure here. I believe this is exactly the same one as came with his pineapple house. He has this little net here, which is, you can see, made of bamboo, which I think is really cool. Just a simple little net there. But yeah, I think the minifigures work pretty well. You can see that the eyes are a separate piece that you plug in. Then you have these arms here, which are on ball joints. And then you can also swivel the hand around as well. The sponge is actually kind of, it's not like malleable or anything, but it is a little bit squishy, which I think is kind of neat because he's supposed to be a sponge. And then you have these square pants, of course, and then you can swivel the feet slightly around from side to side, but you don't have any swivel there like at the waist or anything like that. But yeah, nice printing. All of that's printing, no stickers there. I think it looks pretty good. It's a solid little figure, which I like quite a bit. So we'll give him back his little net. And then we'll take a look at Patrick next. I like Patrick a lot. I think he looks really good. Again, all printing, no stickers or anything on the figures themselves. Head can swivel from side to side. If you want, you can even spin around like the little tip of the starfish of his head there. Again, ball joint here for the shoulder. And then you can swivel the hands around if you want. No other articulation, though. His feet kind of go all the way in, and I guess technically you could spin them if you want to, but why would you? Because they're exactly the same. So, but yeah, definitely a fun little figure. I like him quite a bit. I think he looks pretty good there. So we'll take a look at the sets here. Now, one thing I will say right off the bat, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but this set has 82 pieces, and this has, I think, 103 pieces. Let me double check here. Yes. So they're about the same, but you can see about 20 more pieces for this. The nice thing is there really are no like extra pieces or duplicates or anything like that. The only thing, for whatever reason, you get an extra SpongeBob arm, both the shoulder component and the hand piece. And then for Patrick, you get one extra hand. I don't know why, but that's the only extra pieces. Everything else is built pretty perfectly, and they include the correct amount of pieces for both. So for the Jellyfish Fields, pretty basic little build here. There are some stickers, and I did not apply a lot of the stickers because a lot of these builds have you put stickers that go across multiple pieces, and I don't really like that in case I decide to ever take it apart. So I usually only put stickers on things that, you know, are one piece and don't stretch across, anything like that, or stickers I feel like you absolutely need to have. So for this one, I did put the sticker here on the little signpost that says Jellyfish Fields. That was a nice, easy one to apply. And then I put these little stickers here on the jellyfish, just because I felt like it gave them some characteristic that otherwise they didn't really have. And just to show off real quick the instructions for these, I feel like they're actually pretty decent. Here is the sticker sheet. As you can see, there are a ton of other stickers that I could have applied. I decided not to, and they show you here where to put them. And it's just kind of like putting them on the rocks and things. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing it. But the instructions sheet I feel like is pretty good. It tells you what pieces are needed for each step, and then it tells you where to apply them by kind of graying out what's built already and emphasizing the new bricks for that step. So I feel like it's a pretty good little instruction sheet here. I think they've done a good job, and then of course they tell you all at the end where to put the decals. But yeah, pretty cool. I think the instructions are pretty well done for these, and I appreciate that they're in full color and everything. So I guess you just have, you know, SpongeBob kind of catch these guys in the net. Otherwise, you can just kind of position him around wherever you'd like. There is a tiny little archway back here that is really just kind of ornamental at best because no one can really fit through it. I guess if he took the net out of his hands, you could kind of get him through it. Maybe if you turned him sideways. Yeah, all right, we'll say that he can do that. But it's really ornamental more so than anything. There's not really any features with this set, I would say. You know, obviously you can remove the jellyfish if you want to imagine that he's caught them. And I do appreciate the translucent stalks to make it look like they're floating. I think that's kind of cool. But otherwise, I guess you could try to carry one around and say that he caught it. But it's a cool little set. It's very easy to build. And I think the SpongeBob figure looks great. But yeah, it's really just an open little area with some jellyfish. Moving on to Patrick's Rock, which I assume is where he lives. I have to admit I've not watched much of the show. I feel like the dark brown was a weird choice. And again, maybe that is exactly the color that it is on the show. But I kind of would have rather it had been more of a gray, maybe a dark gray. I just think would have worked a little bit better. Again, there are stickers for this one as well. Let me get that sticker sheet out. So there were just a bunch of, you know, again, just random sea-type objects, some bubbles and things like that you could put all around the rock and to show you what that looks like down here. Again, I don't like to put them on things that will kind of cross over multiple bricks. But the other thing is, I feel like it's a lazy way to do it. Obviously, they can't print everything, and that's fine. But I would almost rather they just use, like, different colored bricks or things, because just to pop all these stickers on at the end. Because when you look at this, it is very boring. It's just a brown block on top of a light gray base. And it's not super intriguing to look at. And then they kind of just solve that by just pasting a bunch of stickers all over it of jellyfish and other random sea things. And to me, that doesn't necessarily make it interesting. I would rather you build up something or use different colored bricks to simulate moss or something. It's just not that interesting to just, at the end, plaster a bunch of stickers on there to make up for the fact that it's kind of visually uninteresting. Like, at least with this one, you have the field, you have the little flowers, you have the different colored jellyfish, you have the different colored archway. There are different colors that make this a little bit more visually interesting and pop a little bit more, whereas this one is just a brown rock, and then they're like, well, to make it more interesting, we'll throw a bunch of stickers all over it. Just kind of seems lazy to me. I assume this is some kind of antenna or something that's brick built there on top. Otherwise, it is a rock, but as you saw, it can hinge open, which I think is really cool. You can go about that far. He has a little TV here. I did have to put the sticker on this one, even though it is across two bricks. You can kind of see the seam there in the center, which I don't love. But I felt like for it to be his TV, they gave you a little sticker there for the screen. And otherwise, it would be very uninteresting as a TV if it didn't have a screen. They have a little brick-built sofa there for him. Now, I guess technically you could stand him on the sofa like that, or you could kind of lay him in the front so he's kind of laying in the sofa, however you want to do that, but it doesn't really accommodate him super well. He can't peg onto it in any way, and I feel like it's just built to look like a sofa and not really so much for functionality, unfortunately. Otherwise, you can kind of move the TV antenna a little bit, and that's about it. There are not really any play features or anything other than the fact that it opens and closes. But I do think it's cool that it opens and closes, so it's on a little hinge there, and you can put him inside. You might have to kind of pop him on like this, and then you can close it around him. So I think that's cool. I do appreciate that he does fit in there, because it would have been very easy for them not to have measured that and make it so that he doesn't really fit well inside. So I do appreciate that he does at least fit in there. But otherwise, it's not a super visually interesting little set. I think if you're kind of comparing the two, I like this one a lot more in terms of color, and it's just a little bit more exciting visually. This one gets the job done, and I do really like the Patrick figure. I think they did a really nice job with him. And I know he lives under a rock, and so I feel like they've recreated it well enough, but it's just not super visually interesting. I wish they would have done a little bit more instead of it just being two colors. You know what I mean? Maybe work in a little bit of green or something, or some kind of design just to make it a little bit more visually interesting. But again, I can't really complain too much. They are $5 per set, So the price is definitely right. And honestly, I think for the little figures alone, that's a decent price, but then you get kind of a decent playset with it. And now that there are 6 different sets out, you could kind of start to, build the little town that they live in with all the different houses and everything. So I think they're fun. I remember when Lego had this license back in the day and they did some cool stuff. I wish I had bought more back then when I had the chance, but unfortunately I missed out. But I do think what they've been able to accomplish with these snap and switch sets is not too bad, especially for the price. I mean, $5 a set for, around 100 pieces. I can't really complain. I think that's very reasonable. And I think they've actually done a really good job with the little figures. I'm really happy with them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.